Hey there. How's it going? How are you? Dr. Dave here. The lighting in here is a little bit weird, but you know something, I'll tell you. We're gonna roll with it. And my hair, I didn't go to hair and makeup either. My hair is weird. Everything's weird, but we're gonna roll with this because you know why? You're here. And we're gonna have a great little live stream. Appreciate you being here. Again, it was announced really late, so I'm not expecting like a ton of people right now. But if we get a few of you and you get some good information and some people watch it at a later time, that's absolutely fantastic. If you're here, say hello in the chat box. Feel free to ask me any questions that you like. Let's see who's here. We got a couple people already. And right now, it's actually supposed to start exactly now, so it's a little bit early for people to be here also. So again, if you're here, just say hello in the chat box. I won't call you out, I promise. But I had as you know, I've been going through some craziness lately with getting kicked out of our house. Can you see me? Is the light okay? I mean, is it good enough? Let's see, is it good enough? I hope it's good enough. Um, I had some craziness, as you know, as you probably know, um, getting kicked out of my house by the landlord. They're not renewing the lease, so my wife and I have been struggling and going nuts trying to figure out what we're going to do and how to avoid being homeless. So been going through some kind of tough times over the past. Oh, Denise, hey, how you doing there? Denise is here, and we're expecting some more people. It's still a little bit early, but I was able to, yeah, I was able to get the live stream going. At the last minute, I found like the live stream like control panel. I was able to get on, so it worked out pretty well. So I'm welcoming anybody else that's coming in at any. It's fine. I'm really glad to have you here on a semi-announced live. I announced, and again, I didn't hair and makeup didn't do a good job for me today, and I've got all kinds of weird lighting. But we're gonna sit back and have some fun. So somebody actually just asked me on YouTube here. Somebody asked me, it's like Ross Sirico. Um, Question: what are you doing differently right now to try to get out of your down period? And Ross, thanks for that. It's a great question, and very timely because the last video I did about this was this past Friday, and I got another one coming for you um, tomorrow. Today's third. Yeah, tomorrow I've got another one coming for you. I did a hike with some dosing over the weekend. I think it was. When was it? I think it was sometime within the past few days, and I did a video at the top, which is pretty cool. And I talked to you personally, from me to you, and shared like what's going on and some very very weird stuff. But Ross, to answer your question, what do I do to try my best to mitigate or eliminate the funk that I'm going through? Because again, getting kicked out of a house is traumatic. I had somebody on this channel say something to me like in a very negative way, by the way. She said, Dr. Dave, you don't know what trauma is, or something like that. Blah blah blah. I can't remember, but it was a really real negative response. Everybody else has been pretty supportive. I realize this is not horrible trauma. I realize it, but let's face it, trauma still can be trauma. We don't want to minimize anybody else's trauma, what you're going through. And if, let's say, you're feeling horrible about something, how dare I would say to you, that's not trauma, that you don't know what trauma. I mean, how dare anybody would say that? That's crazy. Everybody perceives things differently. So we'll get that straight. Thanks. Life is beautiful. Who is that? Life is beautiful. Oh, Life is beautiful. That's your name. Okay. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So Ross asked the question, what am I doing? What am I doing to feel better? The answer is a lot, and I'll share with you. And we're going to keep this live stream kind of short today because I've got a commitment in a little while. I've got to go out and do something. But I want to share this with you also. There's not enough psilocybin in the world to microdose something going on in your life or lifestyle. So if you're feeling bad or in a funk or depressed or about something that's actually, there's a cause for it. something in your life is taking place as a cause, whether it's a horrible job, a horrible relationship, it could be a million things. It could be getting thrown out of a house like I am. Then there's not enough psilocybin in the world to not deal with that issue and feel you're going to microdose your way out of it. Okay, let's agree you can't do that. I am a firm believer and a big proponent of microdosing, and it's changed my life. However, I know that there are other things you have to do alongside, and I've talked about this so much, alongside of the microdosing, because you won't be able to microdose your way out of something. So Ross asked a good question. What am I doing? What are some of the things that I'm doing to feel better? Well, I think last weekend, or even a few days before that, might have been like the absolute peak of my horrible feeling about like being lost and thrown out of a house and possibly homeless. That was the peak. I had a really bad weekend, and I'll share with you. I think it's on tomorrow's podcast. I'll share a lot of that with you. Some crazy stuff happened to me over the weekend, and I don't even ask for this weird stuff, but it happens to me. But on the other hand, I'm doing things to make myself feel better and to improve the things that are causing the problem. If you're here on live stream, just in the chat box first, just take a quick second and say hello. I want to see who's here actually. And many people would be watching this after the fact, but I'm really glad. The fact that you're here live with me it means a lot to me. So you have to identify the problem first. Now, my problem was, I'm getting thrown out of my house. My wife and I are getting thrown out because the landlord who owns this house, what I'm in right now, she wants to move back in, and that's fine. She's not doing anything wrong. We've lived here for 5.5 years now. She's not doing anything wrong. But even though she's not, we will be homeless unless we're able to find a place where we can live. So the number one thing, of course, is to take a step back, realize that it's not terrible. We're going to find something. We've got plenty of time to find something. Let's start looking, which we've been doing. Started looking. So that's going to take care of one big piece of this, because if we find something that we like and potentially buy a house or something, then it's going to take care of a big piece of this puzzle. But in the meantime, I also have to do things that help me mentally and physically. For example, I've been getting out in nature as much as I can. I've been doing some challenging hikes, moving my body, breathing in fresh air. Hey, Matthew, how you doing? From Ireland. Hey, thank you for being here. That is the coolest thing ever. Appreciate you. Moving our bodies in nature is one of the most powerful things we can do to feel better. You're working your cardiovascular system, you're working your muscles, you're working your brain, because you're getting fresh oxygenation to your brain. A lot of times when I go out into nature and do things like a run, a walk, a hike, even skiing, I'm thinking very deeply. I'm trying to like just feel really, think and feel really good, if that makes any sense at all. You just start thinking deeply about things, and hopefully positive things. So getting out in nature and moving your body, eating clean, eating an anti-inflammatory diet. Would it make sense if I'm feeling shitty, I've got things going on in my life, and I go over to McDonald's and get fried food with all kinds of junk calories and junk carbs and fat, and there's nothing wrong with fat, but there's good and bad fats. And I would say that the food at a fast food restaurant or in the snack aisle of a grocery store or junk, desserts, ice creams, cakes, that's not going to help our mental or physical health. So I've been trying to eat really clean. I've got water here that I'm drinking because I just worked out a little while ago. Eat and drink really clean. One thing I did yesterday, a couple of you might know about this. One thing I did yesterday, and this is like out of my comfort zone, but I just felt like I wanted to do this. And I'm trying to do things that are helping make me feel better. I signed up for an open mic stand-up comedy bit last night at a local comedy club. And so I got in. They let me on the stage. Everybody that was an open mic comic. I say that loosely about me. I don't consider myself a comic, but I think there's an art to doing comedy on a stage in front of a really good audience. It's not easy at all. In fact, it's difficult. It is really difficult. But so I wanted to take myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, write myself a 3 minute. Actually, I've got a friend that helps me with the writing. 3 minute, a 3 minute comedy sketch, 3 minute segment, or 3 minute bit, whatever you want to call it. And I performed it last night, and it was Info Warrior comedy. You know what comedy is all about. Timing. That wasn't funny. Timing. You're right. It's not easy. It's all about timing. It's all about connecting with the audience. It's about being yourself and not trying to be somebody else when you're on the stage. When you're on the stage, you've got to be the true you, and you've got to know your material. Unless you're like such a seasoned professional, you can banter on anything. That's a different level. You've got to know your material. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to connect with the audience. And yes, timing is definitely everything. There's no. And I would say last night I would give myself. I'm very hard on myself as well, so I would give myself about a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, I think it certainly wasn't a bomb. It wasn't bad, but I looking at the video, I could have done much better. But again, I'm being hard on myself because it's been a while since I've been on the stage now, especially doing comedy. It's been a while, and it takes a lot of practice. Anybody that thinks they can get up one time and do a successful job. I mean, there are people that can do that, but they're few and far between. Very, very difficult. Reading the audience, how they react to time. Yeah, and you've got to be doing all this stuff at once. Like while you're presenting, or while you're performing, you've got to be thinking about so many things: the timing, the audience, where to put the mic stand. And also when you're on stage, at least where I was last night, bright lights are shining in your face. You can't see the audience. Maybe the first row, maybe. But so you're looking. These bright lights are shining in your face. You can't see anything, and it's difficult. It's really tough. But again, the question was asked: what are some of the things I'm doing to get out of the funk? And what I'm saying is, I'm not just sitting idly by trying to microdose and thinking that I can out microdose any type of issue. No, I'm doing things. Again, let's review what I've done so far. Looking for a new house. That got to be number one. That's paramount, because that's why I'm in this situation, because I'm going to be homeless if I don't find a new house. Getting out in nature, working out, moving my body, clean food, and maybe hobbies, things that you are passionate about. It's not that comedy is my hobby. I do a little bit from time to time, but I just said, I got a friend in from out of town right now, and I said, I'm going to try it. Let's try it. Let's have some fun. The worst thing that can happen is I bomb on stage, and it's the most horrific act ever. And if I did, so what? So what? But it's not going to change my life. I'll be probably a little bit pissed off at myself, but you move on. But if you don't do it, then you never know. Got to make the humor flow right. It's an art. So true. That's what I mean. You've got to be, even though, like, when you're on stage, it looks like it's maybe like extemporaneous, if that's the right word. Like, it just looks like it's flowing. But when you're a professional, you know what you're going to say, but you make it look like it's kind of off the cuff. You make it look like it, and that's like a true art. Probably to acting. I've never acted, but comedy, being a public speaker. I've done a lot of I've done a lot of professional speaking in the dental profession, a lot. And I will tell you, it's not easy. The first time I ever got up on stage and spoke to a dental audience, I think I was horrible. but then over many years I got experience with it, and it's good. And I don't do it anymore because I'm not in that. This is what I'm doing now. I'm helping people all over the world feel better. There's nothing more important to me right now in my life than helping you or whoever else might be watching feel better every single day. I honestly believe you can do it. It was a great question for today. Like, what am I doing? Because again, I'm being very transparent with you guys. I don't want to come across as this guru who is podcasting or doing videos or whatever it might be, and everything's perfect. Oh God, my life is so perfect. I've got everything I need. It's beautiful, and I'm just podcasting to you to brag and show you how great everything is. No, I am no different than you. We're the same. I might be a little further ahead on the timeline as far as figuring this stuff out. And that's why you're watching or listening, but today's just watching. But I'm no different. The struggles I have gone through and the struggles I am going through, they're real. And last weekend, again, that was the peak probably. I hope it was the peak because I'm feeling much better now. Last weekend was the peak of craziness in my life. And again, my episode that's coming out tomorrow, I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm almost positive that's it. I share some of the craziness that happened over this past weekend. And sometimes I want to be alone and I don't want to be having to get into conversations with people. And I want to think and I want to, meditate or just go deep or whatever it might be. And again, like I'll say tomorrow in the podcast episode, many people think that because I am the founder and host of the show here, and I come onto the video or audio podcast or whatever, and I speak to you, it's assumed that I'm an extrovert, that I love hanging around people, and I just talk and talk and talk. It's assumed. I'm not like that. I love being alone. Even I'm married, and I love being with my wife. She's in Japan right now. She's in Japan, and I did have a friend that came visiting me. But I love being alone. I'm very comfortable being alone. I get a lot of work done when I'm alone. I get a lot of thinking done. I have no problem going to a restaurant alone and eating by myself. I love it. I love it. Going to a concert by myself. I prefer that actually. So this past weekend, when I'm trying to be alone and not give anybody permission to approach me and just start talking and latching onto me and not letting me go, that wasn't what I was looking for. But I had some issues that I'm going to share tomorrow, and it was not good. And also add to that, it was probably the peak of me feeling really lousy. I just didn't feel, and every little thing was messing with me. Even on the hiking trail, somebody passed me the wrong way. It was just messing with me. It wasn't great. So anyway, that's my story. I hope. See, who was that again? It was who was that? It was Ross. Ross, I hope you're watching, and I hope that helps you. But again, I'll repeat what I said. You can't out microdose a life issue. You have to fix the life issue alongside of the microdosing. So if you're in a bad job, bad relationship, if you've got a medical issue, whatever it might be, whatever that thing is that's going on, you have to try your best to deal with that. Not just deal with it, but fix it. Fix it. You have to fix it, or do the best you can. If you have a medical issue that can't be fixed, you do the absolute best you can, of course. But ignoring a situation like a job that you just dread, a city that you live in that just doesn't resonate with you anymore, a relationship, a person, somebody, your partner in a relationship that is not on the same level as you are anymore. You've got to deal with these things. However you're dealing is everybody deals differently. But if you try to sweep these things under the rug and just keep microdose, that's not going to be enough. It's like I follow a lot of physicians on YouTube, and they talk about how a lot of people just want to take vitamins and supplements, and they think everything's going to be fine. But he's this guy that I follow said you can't out supplement a bad lifestyle or a bad diet. You can't out supplement. You can't outrun. Oh yeah, okay, let's say you're a runner and you think running is going to be the answer to your health forever, and so because of that, you eat shitty. You don't sleep enough. You party too much or whatever. No, you can't outrun a bad lifestyle. It's not going to work. So I'm saying you can't out microdose a problem that you're having, an issue you're having. You can't out microdose. You have to deal with that issue. So I hope some of these things helped you today. I appreciate you being here. Does anybody have a quickie question you want to ask me before we end it for the day? A quick. I got a little bit of time. Any question? Any question? Oh, by the way, and let me share one more thing with you. This is really important. I'm glad you asked. Type your question, and I'll get to it in a second. On my premium Patreon channel, it's got to be premium. On the premium Patreon channel, I am sharing. How can I say this? Being very careful. Let's just say I'm sharing some things with you that I've never shared in this type of forum before. You can read between the lines. I'm sharing some very special things, but it's only to a very small amount of people on my premium Patreon channel. Yes, they pay me $12.50 a month. That's a couple cups of coffee. $12.50 a month. It really helps what I'm doing. It helps pay for my equipment, my website, all the stuff I'm doing. I'm paying with my own money. I don't ask for a lot, and you don't have to do this. But if you become a Patreon member on Microdose U, it really does, and it's always in the show notes. By the way, it always, I really appreciate it, and it helps the channel immensely. So that's. Let me see if anybody's saying anything else. That's what I want to say about that. Patreon. I'll make sure there's a link to in the show notes here. But if you go on Patreon, it's Patreon. You just do a search for Microdose U. I'll make sure I do a link here for you. And again, I share that I'm just not comfortable sharing in a public open forum. If that makes any sense at all, I think you can read between the lines. You can read between the lines there. Okay. Excuse me. Any questions? Any questions at all? Ask me anything. Whatever it is, I'll try to answer it. I'll try my best. Can't absolutely guarantee. Bueller? Anybody here? Anybody there? Anybody there? Nobody's asking. It's okay. I still love you all. Doesn't matter. If you want to sit back and relax, I love you. Doesn't matter. It's all right. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Info Warrior. Work towards what's better in life from what and where you are and what you know. Plant medicine can help guide you. Thank you, Dr. Dave. Info Warrior, I appreciate you. I appreciate all your positive energy and your following on the YouTube and all of your comments all the time, almost every day, or definitely a few times a week. I appreciate you because I feel the energy. And when I feel energy from people, it helps me come up with more ideas and more things to talk about and help more people across the planet. So I love it. Thanks to you. Thank you, Info Warrior. I don't see if I let me see. Info Warrior, remind me of your first name. I'm so sorry. Remind me of your first name. Sometimes everything gets lost in translation here. So let me see if I can see. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. I responded. I did not respond. Respond status. Haven't responded. Somewhere here. And there's probably a lag. There's probably a lag time between the time that somebody puts up a comment and time that I see it. Okay, it's all right. I can't. It's okay. It's all good. I'm just. One day, I'm not sure when I'm not sure we'll do this. Eric, okay, thanks, Eric. One day, I've been thinking about this for a while. Just never happened because the logistics are way too much for me. Way too much. I wanted to do some type of a meetup with all you cool people, not with the nakama here, the nakama. Love to do some type of like meetup. I thought about a short time ago. There's a really cool hot spring here in Utah. I think it's called Mystic Hot Springs, and they've got these like converted buses, and each one they're like lined up, and each one is like a they turned them into like a hippie van where they've got like really nice beds, a little kitchen, I think, kitchenette, something. But it's really cool, really. And when I saw these things, and they've got hot springs right there, and I was thinking this would be a cool place to have a little meetup sometime. But then again, I started thinking, okay, yeah, it sounds great, but I'm not the extrovert that everybody thinks. I'm not going to be like the life of the party. I'm not the extrovert that everybody thinks I am. So could I really run something like this? I don't know. I mean, I could do it. Do I want to do it? I could do it, of course. Do I want to do it? That's the bigger question. I don't know the answer to that. So it would be really cool to actually meet up with some of you people, especially the ones that are, giving me comments all the time. I'd love to hang with you. And even the people that are not, the people that sit back and just take it all in. I love that every bit as much too. That's really cool. If there are no more questions, are there any? I'll give you another minute to ask a question. If there are no more questions, we will end it for today. You don't know how much I appreciate you hanging with me. It was announced very late, of course. I mean, I did announce it earlier, but it was pretty much like an hour before it was going to go live. So most people are probably going to watch this on the replay. Maybe what I'll do, I'll try to schedule them much more in advance in the future, maybe. But sometimes I just want to do like an impromptu, like I'm here, I'm hanging around, I've got an extra hour, let's go live. I mean, I might do that as well. So make sure you have you subscribe to the channel. It's very important. Make sure you have your notifications enabled. And then if I ever decide to go live, you'll just get ding, 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 or something like that. So let's see. Mac. Sorry if I mispronounced. That sounds amazing, but I am also an introvert. Would be awesome experience though for the good vibes. Wouldn't that be cool if we got people together that didn't necessarily all have to talk a lot to each other, but we just hung out? Wait, here's a concept. Here, tell me if you think of it. Tell me, okay, and Mac. I hope it's pronounced Mac, or Mac. I hope I'm right. It's one of those two. It has to be one of those two, I guess. But because many people here, I think, we're not like super sociable people. We don't want to be. I don't want to be going to parties. I mean, can I be okay at a party? Yeah, for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, I could be okay at a party, and then I just got to get out of there. So maybe we can have a meetup at like a hot spring here, but knowing in advance, it's not going to be a party. We don't have to talk a lot. We just kind of hang out and get each other's energies, and maybe a little bit of talking here and there, but not like interviewing each other or grilling each other and just always on. I don't like to always have to be on. Like, in other words, if I'm in the hot spring with you guys, we can just kick back and relax, and we don't have to talk. So Mac, thanks for that. You gave me the idea. We could just get a bunch of us together who don't want to party and don't want to have like a big talk fest, and then we hang out with our energy and help each the energy. That would be awesome. Okay, thanks for that, guys. Love you. I really do. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to do more and more and more. Remember, if you want to support the channel, head over to Patreon. Look for Microdose U. I'll try to put the link in the show notes here. It's always on the website, microdoseu.com. It's always on the website there. And, it's a premium channel. You get a little extra stuff there. It really helps to support us. And again, I'm able to do all this because, again, every bit of equipment I use here, it's come out of my own checkbook, so to speak. Checkbook. Nobody uses checks anymore. It's all come out of my own funds. So I'm able, if the show is supported just a little bit more, even I'm able to do more and more and more and more. And I've got so many ideas, so many ideas. But with a tight budget right now, I just can't do a ton. So I'm not looking for a lot. I'm just looking for a little bit of support if you're in the position that you can. And again, if you're not in the position, I don't want you to feel you ever have to do that. I don't want you to feel that way. So let's see. Before we close, Info Warrior Eric said live AMA and chats on YouTube are good if announced in advance. Right. It's still true. Love it. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. Very true. And Mac, I said I pronounced it right. However, I said it's either Mac or Mock, but I'm going to say Mac. I'm going to say it's Mac. I think that's right, Mac. It just makes sense. M-A, Mac. Okay. Bye, guys. Love you. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you from my heart for being here. I'm Dr. Dave. Microdose U.